warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Magandang araw po sa atin lahat and happy Ramadan to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. In line with the culmination of Women's Month, inihahandog po ng BHRC ang lecture series on human rights. At isa po sa mga batas na may kinalaman sa human rights ay ang Safe Spaces Act or Republic Act number 11313 o tinatawag na Bawal Bastos Law. Republic Act number 11313, an act defining gender-based sexual harassment in streets, public spaces, online, workplaces, and educational or training institution, providing protective measures and prescribing penalties therefore. Ito po ay naisa batas noong April 17, 2019. Okay, so ano ba ang sitwasyon ng mga kababaihan sa Pilipinas? According to UN Women and Social Welfare Station, 3 out of 5 women in the Philippines experience harassment in their life. 70% of sexual harassment ay galing sa estranghero, no? Kagagawa ng estranghero, 58% of sexual harassment happens on the streets, no, sa mga kalsada, and 70% of sexual harassment are experienced in broad daylight where hundreds of people can see. So, kahit may nakakakita, nagkakaroon pa rin po ng sexual harassment. That is why ito po yung naging dahilan, isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit naisabatas itong Safe Spaces Act. Section 2 Declaration of Policies. Under our 1987 Constitution, it is the policy of the state to value the dignity of every human person and guarantee full respect of human rights. It is also the policy ng ating Estado na i-recognize yung karapatan ng mga kababaihan in nation building and ensure fundamental equality before the law of women and men. At ang Estado po ay ni-recognize din niya yung both men and women must have equality, security, and safety not only in private but also sa kalsada, sa public spaces, sa online, sa workplaces, and educational and training institutions. Safe Spaces Act in a nutshell. Ano po ba itong Safe Spaces Act, no? Sa pangkabuuan, ito po ay batas, no? It is a law that aims to make our streets, public spaces, online, workplaces, and educational or training institutions safe from gender-based sexual harassment by criminalizing gender-based sexual harassment in said spaces, no? Ngayon, ano ba yung tinatawag na gender-based sexual harassment or GBSH, no? According sa primer on the Safe Spaces Act by the UP Diliman Gender Office, ito ay yung mga gawain na nagdudulot or maaaring magdulot ng mental, emotional, or psychological distress to a person on the basis of gender identity, and or expression. So, ibig sabihin, ang Safe Spaces Act ay hindi lamang sa pangkababaihan. Pwede rin po ito sa mga kalalakihan, no? At para sa mga bakla or tomboy o yung tinatawag nating LGBT. Okay? Because of this phrase na gender identity and or expression, no? So inclusive po itong batas na ito, lahat po ng gender identity and or expression ay kasama po. So ang coverage po ng Safe Spaces Act ay mas pinalawak. Itong batas na ito ay malawak po ang kanyang coverage. It covers gender-based street and public spaces sexual harassment, gender-based online sexual harassment, qualified gender-based streets, public spaces, and online sexual harassment, gender-based sexual harassment sa workplaces, no? At saka gender-based sexual harassment sa educational and training institutions. Okay, mauna tayo sa gender-based street and public spaces sexual harassment. Pag sinabi pong public spaces, no, kasama po dito yung streets and alleys, yung kalsada, at saka mga iskinita, public parks, schools, malls, bar, restaurants. Kasama po dito din yung public utility vehicles, no, yung mga pampasahero ng mga sasakyan. Or kahit hindi siya pampasahero kung covered by app-based transport network services katulad nung Grab, nung Angkas, no, para sa mga motor, no, and Joyride, no, and other recreational spaces such as but not limited to cinema halls, theaters, and spas, no. So kahit privately owned siya pero open to the public, still considered pa rin siya as part ng public spaces. So paano po nakukumit yung gender-based street and public spaces sexual harassment, no? According sa Section 4 nitong Republic Act 11313 or the Safe Spaces Act, through any unwanted and uninvited sexual actions or remarks against any person regardless of the motive for committing such action or remarks, no? So, kahit ano yung motibo, basta unwanted or uninvited siya at maaaring kumbaga kung ito ay nakaka-offend or nakaka-embarrass, humiliate doon sa recipient ng action na yon ay pwedeng maging punishable, ito ay isang punishable act, no? So regardless po ng regardless of the motive. Okay. So tutukuyin naman po natin yung mga punishable acts under Safe Spaces Act, no? May mga degrees po siya, first degree, second degree, and third degree, no? According sa severity ng act. Okay. Unang-una sa first degree offenses under Section 11A ng Republic Act 11313 or Safe Spaces Act, mayroon tayong tinatawag na catcalling, no? Ano ba itong catcalling? Ito yung halimbawa may dumadaan sa kalsada na babae, tapos tatawagin siya ng hey sexy, tapos hindi niya nagugustuhan, no? Okay, meron ding walk whistling. Ito yung paninipol, no? May dumaan tapos sinisipulan, no? Bawal po 'yon. Meron din tayong leering and intrusive gazing. Ito naman po yung malisyosong pagtititig, no? Minsan may mga kababaihan na may mga kalalakihan na masyado nilang tinititigan in a malicious way yung mga babae, na yung mga babae po ay na-offend or natathreaten. Okay. Meron din po tayong cursing na tinatawag, no? So, halimbawa, sasabihin natin na halimbawa lang, no, yung mamatay ka na sana, babae ka, so bawal po 'yon. Or di kaya mamatay na sana ang mga bakla at mga tomboy. So, bawal din po yon. Okay? Meron din yung taunting, no? Yung panunuya, no? Yung ginagawa mo para magalit or kumbaga ma-provoke yung ibang tao, no? Unwanted invitation, no? Katulad ng mga kababaihan, no, na kapag yung lalaki ay imbitahan siya na, for example, ihatid na kita, no, tapos hindi naman niya kilala, ayaw niya, so bawal din po yun. Ngayon, meron din tayong misogynistic, transphobic, homophobic, and sexist slurs, no? Yung misogynistic, no, ito yung hatred against women or prejudice against women. For example, sasabihin mong salot ang mga babae. So, bawal po yun. Transphobic, homophobic, and sexist slurs. Halimbawa, sabihin mo, bakla kadiri or tomboy kadiri. So, hindi pwede yun. Okay. Persistent and unwanted comments on one's appearance. Bawal po yun. Relentless request for personal details such as name, contact, and social media details or designation, no? So, halimbawa, may babae, tapos may lumapit na lalaki, tatanungin yung pangalan, contact number, so ayaw naman ng babae. So kung paulit-ulit na lang gagawin, so bawal po yun. It's a punishable act. Okay? Use of words, gesture, or actions that ridicule on the basis of sex, gender, or sexual orientation, no? Gaya ito nung kanina na binanggit natin, no? Another is persistent telling of sexual jokes. So, ito po yung isa rin sa mga babala, no? Kasi marami din tayong nakikita na kumbaga mahilig ng green jokes, no? So kung hindi po welcome yung green jokes na yun, ayaw nung recipient, no? Ayaw nung receiver nung green joke. So pwede pong kumbaga pwedeng maging liable yung gumagawa nung or nagbibiro, no, ng mga green. Okay? So yun. And another one is use of sexual names, comments, and demands, and any statement that has made an invasion on a person's personal space or threatens the person's sense of personal safety. Yun po yung nasa first degree offenses. So, ano naman yung kaparusahan or penalties for first degree offenses? Okay, sa first offense, may multa na 1,000 pesos at 12 hours community service with gender sensitivity seminar, no? Then kapag inulit pa, second offense, mayroong 6 to 10 days na pagkakulong, no? At multa na 3,000. Or multa. So it's either pagkakulong sa second offense or multa, no? Pero pagka third offense na po, arresto minor 11 to 30 days na pagkakulong at multa na 10,000. Ibig sabihin kapag pangatlo mo na makukulong yung may kagagawan plus magkakamulta pa siya. Okay. Then second degree offenses under section 11B ng Republic Act 11313, yung making offensive body gestures at someone, no? Then second, exposing private parts or flashing of private parts, no? Yung halimbawa yung sa mga exhibitionists, so bawal po 'yon. Then public masturbation, bawal po 'yon. And then yung groping and other similar lewd sexual actions, yung pangangapa or panghihipo at iba pang mga malalaswang gawain. So, ano po ang mga kaparusahan ng mga second degree offenses na 'yon? Okay, so ang mga kaparusahan, unang-una, pag first offense, 10,000 fine, okay, 10,000 na multa, and 12 hours community service with gender sensitivity seminar. Okay? Sa second offense naman po ay pagkakulong, arresto minor, 11 to 30 days, or multa na 15,000. Then sa pangatlo, arresto mayor, 1 month and 1 day to 6 months na pagkakulong at multa na 20,000 pesos. Pag third degree offenses po naman, ito po yung stalking, no? Yung stalking po, ito yung pagsubaybay, no? Pagsunod ng sunod sa isang tao na maaari siya ay matakot na, no? Matreten na siya sa kanyang buhay at seguridad, no? Kasi bakit siya sinusundan? Okay, so isa yun. Then pangalawa, yung mga acts na nabanggit natin sa section 11A and 11B, when accompanied by touching, pinching, or brushing against the body of the offended person. Halimbawa, nag-joke ka, sabay, hinawakan mo yung anumang bahagi ng katawan nung kinakausap mo, no? So, third degree na yon. Or, any touching, pinching, or brushing against the genitalia, face, arms, anus, groin, okay, or any part of the victim's body, no? Even when not accompanied by acts mentioned in section 11A and B. So, kahit wala yung mga acts sa section 11A and B na nabanggit natin, kung mayroong kasamang sense of touch, no? Yung halimbawa, hinahawakan mo or kinurot mo or di kay nagdikit yung mga katawan ninyo. So, kumbaga may physical interaction. So, third degree na rin yon, no? So, may atang nakaparusahan para doon, no? So, ang mga kaparusahan or penalties para sa third degree offenses na nasabi natin, first offense, arresto minor, 11 to 30 days imprisonment, at may multa na 30,000 with gender sensitivity seminar. Okay. Then, pangalawa, arresto mayor, no? 1 month and 1 day to 6 months na imprisonment or a fine of 50,000 pesos, no? Then, ang third degree naman ay arresto mayor 6 months imprisonment, kasi arresto mayor in its maximum siya, or a fine of 100,000 pesos. So, malalaki yung multa dito sa third degree offenses. Duties of local government units. Okay, under the law, no, under the Safe Spaces Act, yung local government units or LGUs bear the primary responsibility in enforcing the provisions on gender-based streets and public spaces sexual harassment. So si LGU ang may primary responsibilidad sa pag-implementa ng mga provisions sa streets and public spaces sexual harassments, no? Therefore, the LGUs have the duty to number 1, to pass an ordinance that shall implement the Safe Spaces Act. So dapat yung mga LGUs ay meron na siyang mga ordinansa na ini-implement itong batas na ito, yung Safe Spaces Act. Then i-disseminate or i-post itong batas na ito sa mga conspicuous places, yung mga nakikita na mga lugar, no, na maaaring kumbaga pinupuntahan ng mga tao, mabasa nila yung act na ito, no, or kasama yung ordinance, no. Then provide measure to prevent gender-based sexual harassment in educational institutions such as information campaigns and anti-sexual harassment seminars. So kasama din po yun sa responsibilidad ni LGU. Discourage and impose fines on acts gender-based sexual harassment. Create an anti-sexual harassment hotline. So isa din ito sa sa mga duties ni LGU ay magkaroon ng anti-sexual harassment hotline na kung saan doon tatawag yung mga biktima, no, or may mga concerns about sexual harassment. Okay? And coordinate with the ILG para sa implementation ng batas. Then, isa na namang coverage pa rin nitong batas na ito ay yung gender-based online sexual harassment, no? Ito yung mga acts na ginagamit yung information and communication technology, no? Yung particularly yung internet sa pag-terrorize at pag-intimidate ng victim. Okay? Yung mga punishable acts dito include physical, psychological, and emotional threats, unwanted sexual, misogynistic, transphobic, homophobic, and sexist remarks and comments, no? Gaya nung in-explain natin kanina, ang kaibahan lang ito ginagawa online, no? Invasion of victims' privacy through cyberstalking and incessant messaging, uploading and sharing without the consent of the victim any form of media that contains photos, voice, or video with sexual content, no? For example, barkada kayo, naligo kayo sa private pool, nakatupis kayo lahat, tapos may nag-upload nung photo din sa mga barkada, tapos isa sa mga barkada ay pinpublic, no, in-upload sa Facebook yung photo, so bawal po yun. Okay? And any unauthorized recording and sharing of any of the victim's photo, video, or any information online, then yung impersonating identities of the victims and filing false abuse reports to online platforms to silence victims. Okay? So, penalties, no? Mataas yung penalty dito, no? Kasi yung mga online sexual harassment, mas madali siyang kumbaga gawin yung krimen, no? At saka mas marami ang nakakakita kasi nga online siya. Okay? So, ang kanyang mga kaparusahan ay prison correctional in its medium period and a fine of 100,000 to 500,000, no? Then, kung ang perpetrator ay juridical person, meaning organization siya, for example, broadcast media station or newspaper agency, ang mangyayari, yung license or franchise niya ay shall be automatically deemed revoked. At saka yung mga persons liable shall be the officers thereof, no? Okay? Including yung mga editor or reporter in case of print media, and station manager, editor, and broadcaster in case of broadcast media. Kapag ka naman po foreigner or alien yung nag-commit ng online gender-based sexual harassment, sila po ay liable din sa karapatang kaparusahan. Then after nila ma-serve yung kanilang sentence at pagbayad ng bayaran yung kanilang multa, sila po ay masasubject din sa deportation proceedings. So implementation body ng or implementation bodies ng anti-sexual harassment, kumbaga gender-based online sexual harassment, ay yung ating PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group, no, PNP ACG. Sila po yung may responsibility sa pag-implement ng Philippine laws on cybercrime, at sila po ay magre-receive ng complaints of gender-based online sexual harassment. Okay? So meron din po tayong Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center ng DICT, nung Department of Information and Communication Technology, na magko-coordinate with PNP ACG, no, PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group, no, to prepare appropriate and effective measure to monitor and penalize gender-based online sexual harassment. Okay? So, pangatlo po yung qualified gender-based street, public spaces, and online sexual harassment. So, ito naman po siya ay yung mga gender-based sexual harassment sa street, public spaces, and online. Yung penalty po, yung kaparusahan ay mas mataas or tinatawag na qualified dito sa mga sumusunod na mga kaso or pangyayari. Una, if the act takes place in a common carrier or PUV, no, including but not limited to jeepney, taxi, tricycle, or app-based transport network vehicles gaya ng Grab, Angkas, Joyride, no? Or the perpetrator is the driver of the vehicle and the offended party is a passenger. So kasi public transportation siya, so it's impressed with public interest. So dapat yung ating driver and or operator ay mag-exercise ng extraordinary diligence in carrying the passenger from point of origin to destination. So ang masaklap dito ay yung driver pa ang nanghaharas sa kanilang pasahero, no? Kaya qualified siya, mas mataas yung penalty. Pangalawa, kung ang offended party ay minor at saka vulnerables, no, katulad ng ating mga senior citizen at saka person with disability, at pati na rin yung mga breastfeeding mother, no? So mas mataas ang kaparusahan kung sila ay ihaharas, no? Then pangatlo ay kung ang biktima ay isang tao na may mental problem, no, may problema sa kanyang kaisipan, so qualified siya, mas mataas ang kaparusahan. Another one is if the perpetrator ay miyembro siya ng uniformed services such as PNP and Armed Forces personnel siya, at ginawa niya yung kanyang isinagawa niya yung harassment na yon while siya ay in uniform, no? Naka-uniform siya, kasi masisira niya yung imahe ng PNP at saka Armed Forces. Then panglima, kung yung sexual harassment ay nangyari sa premises ng government agency na may frontline services, tapos ang perpetrator ay isang government employee, so mas mataas ang kaparusahan. Then, pang-apat, meron po tayong gender-based sexual harassment in the workplace, no? Okay, kasama dito yung act or series of acts na may unwelcome sexual advances, request or demand sexual favor. So, be it physically, verbally, or kahit sa chat, no? Mini-message mo siya, no? So, hindi yun po pwede. Then, next is yung conduct of sexual nature. Sabi nga natin, yung mga green joke, no, na hindi naman welcome at saka offensive feeling nung nakakatanggap nung green joke ay na-offend siya at bumababa ang kanyang pagkatao dahil sa mga green jokes na yon. Okay? Or any conduct na unwelcome na nagka-create ng intimidating and hostile environment sa workplace. Okay? So, under the Safe Spaces Act, no, particularly sa implementing rules and regulations ng RA 11313, employers or other persons of authority, influence, or moral ascendancy in the workplace shall have the duty to prevent, deter, or punish the performance of acts of gender-based sexual harassment in the workplace. So, dapat ang magpasimuno sa pag-prevent ng gender-based sexual harassment sa workplace ay yung employer at saka yung mga manager, supervisor, no? Yung may mga moral ascendancy over doon sa mga empleyado. Then, meron din tayong gender-based sexual harassment sa educational and training institutions, no? Kasi accordingly, dapat lahat ng sexual harassments, no, ay bawal sa educational and training institutions. So, dapat ang mga schools, mapapublic man yan or private, at mag-designate ng officer in charge na siya magre-receive ng complaints regarding violation of the Safe Spaces Act, no? Kasi dapat ang eskwelahan ay mag-provide ng gender sensitivity environment, no, that is both respectful to victim needs and conducive to truth telling. So dapat ang mga educational training institutions ay meron din silang na-adapt and na-publish na grievance procedures, no, na makakatulong sa ating mga estudyante at pati faculty members ng pag-file nila ng complaint kung halimbawa may mangyaring sa gender-based sexual harassment. Isa rin sa duty ng school authorities, no, yung maging proactive kung mayroon silang nalaman or possibly malalaman nila na mayroong mga impending act of gender-based sexual harassment, dapat sila mag-imbestiga, no? To determine the veracity ng information at saka under which the act of gender-based sexual harassment or sexual violence were committed at sila dapat ay mag-action, no? So, ayun, para ma-resolve yung mga ganun na sitwasyon. Ito, development of code of conduct, no? Under the implementing rules and regulation ng RA 11313 or Safe Spaces Act, dapat daw ang mga employers, no, public man yan or government, no, kasama na doon yung ating mga government agencies at pati head of educational and training institutions, dapat mag-develop ng code of conduct, no, sa workplaces in consultation with workers or union. Then sa educational and training institutions in consultation with the student council, no? Yung code of conduct na yon, i-define doon kung ano-ano yung mga gender-based sexual harassment, ano yung kanyang coverage, forms, classifications, at saka appropriate penalty, at kung sino ang pwedeng mag-commit nun at sino ang pwedeng maging biktima, no? Okay, kasi ideally naman talaga kumbaga in law sa batas na ito, Safe Spaces Act, anyone can be the offender, no, perpetrator, then anyone could also be the victim or offended party, no. Bawat isa, regardless ng kanyang kasarian or gender, pwede siya ang maging biktima. At the same time, regardless of gender din, anyone could also be the perpetrator or offender. Okay? Then, doon din po sa code of conduct na yun, dapat mayroong rules of procedures, no? Kung paano yung filing of cases, investigation and resolution, pati yung appeal. At siya rin yung magiging batayan functions ng CODI, Committee on Decorum and Investigation. Then, dahil doon, yung function, responsibilities, composition, qualifications ng CODI, including yung penalties ng kanyang members ng CODI kung halimbawa hindi nila ginawa yung kanilang mga trabaho. So, ayun. Nakasaad dapat yon sa Code of Conduct na dapat gagawin ng employers, both private or public sector, pati educational and training institutions. So, concomitant with the development of Code of Conduct, dapat din ma-constitute yung Committee on Decorum and Investigation. Anong ito siya? No? Ito yung committee that shall serve as an independent internal grievance mechanism that will act as the main body in the investigation and resolution of cases involving gender-based sexual harassment sa workplace and educational and training institutions. So, itong Committee on Decorum and Investigation, sila yung independent body na magsasagawa ng investigation hanggang sa pag-resolve ng kaso ng gender-based sexual harassment sa workplaces at sa educational and training institutions. So, I think yun lamang po yung ating Safe Spaces Act in a nutshell.
Ayun po ang lecture ni Attorney Lads, no, tungkol po sa Safe Spaces Act of 2019. At ngayon naman, nandito naman po tayo sa question and answer portion. No? So, Attorney Lads, nagpadala po ng ilang mga katanungan yung mga viewers natin. No? So, sasagutin po yan ni Attorney Lads sa atin. So, ang pinakaunang tanong po, Attorney Lads, so, ano daw po ang kaibahan ng Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995 sa Safe Spaces Act of 2019.
Okay. Ang kaibahan ng Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995 sa Safe Spaces Act of 2019 ay actually marami silang kaibahan, ngunit yung Safe Spaces Act ay expansion ito ng Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995. So, ilan sa mga kaibahan nila ay unang-una doon sa coverage, no? Ang Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995, nakasaad doon, yung coverage niya ay yung workplace, educational and training institutions, no? While itong Safe Spaces Act, gaya nung na-discuss natin kanina, maliban sa workplace, educational and training institutions, kino-cover din niya yung mga gender-based sexual harassments ng streets and public spaces at saka ng online, no? So that's one. And then pangalawa, sa Anti-Sexual Harassment of 1995, yung sexual harassment doon ay committed by any person who has authority, influence, and moral ascendancy over another, no? So, meaning, ang pwedeng maging perpetrator nun ay, for example, sa workplace, yung employer or yung mga supervisor, manager, no? Then sa educational and training institutions, yung trainer sa kanyang trainee, then yung for example, professor or teacher sa kanyang estudyante. So, hindi nasakop nung batas na yun yung tulad nung halimbawa sexual harassment between peers at saka the other way around. For example, nung subordinate sa kanyang supervisor, nung trainee sa kanyang trainer, nung estudyante sa kanyang teacher. Kasi pwede rin na mangyari yon na yung estudyante ang manghaharas sa teacher, yung subordinate sa kanyang supervisor o di kaya yung trainee sa kanyang trainer, no? At saka yung mga peers, yung estudyante sa estudyante, empleyado sa empleyado, Okay, so yun yung meron ngayon sa Safe Spaces Act, kaya siya mas pinalawak, no? And then pangatlo is that doon sa anti-sexual harassment of 1995, yung sexual harassment niya, kumbaga makukumit siya if the person who has authority, influence, and moral ascendancy over another ay yung element niya nag-demand, request, or require sexual favor. Dito sa Safe Spaces Act, hindi na kailangan na may demand, requires, or request sexual favor, kundi mere utterances lang or conduct na pwedeng mag-offend at saka mag-cause ng emotional, psychological at saka mental distress sa ibang tao on the basis of gender, ay pwede nang maging liable yung may kagagawan. Kasi nga, di ba meron tayong mga misogynistic, transphobic, and homophobic remarks ngayon na pwede na siyang punishable under Safe Spaces Act.
Okay, so yung Safe Spaces Act pala ay parang expansion.
Yeah.
No, mas pinalawak niya yung Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995. Okay, so thank you so much, Attorney Lance. Bilang pangsunod na tanong, no, so under Safe Spaces Act, saan daw po pwedeng magreklamo ang mga biktima ng sexual harassment?
Okay. Ang alamin natin dyan is saan nangyari yung sexual harassment.
Okay.
Okay. For example, nangyari siya sa streets, no, sa mga kalsada or iskinita. So, hahanapin natin yung PNP or police, no? Particularly under the implementing rules and regulations ng Republic Act 11313 or the Safe Spaces Act, dapat may nakatalagang ASHI, no? Anti-Sexual Harassment Enforcers sa mga kalsada, na kung saan, kung sino yung mga biktima ng sexual harassment, ay pwede doon sila magreklamo.
Okay.
Ngayon, kung wala pa yon, hanapin natin yung kung sino man yung kung may police ba doon or pinakamalapit na police station. Okay? So, under din doon sa implementing rules ng Safe Spaces Act, ang LGUs may designate yung kanilang local traffic enforcers na mag-respond sa mga gender-based sexual harassment, no? Then kung yan naman ay nangyari sa privately owned spaces but open to the public, for example, yung mga cinemas, no? Open to the public kasi yan, at saka yung mga spa, bars. Pag nangyari yon, pumunta tayo doon sa ASHO, no, yung anti-sexual harassment officers or officer na dinesignate nila. Kasi under din sa implementing rules, no, dapat mayroong anti-sexual harassment officer, at accordingly dapat ang PNP i-deputize niya yung mga security guards sa pag-apprehend ng perpetrator ng sexual harassment sa mga privately owned spaces open to the public, no? So, kapag online naman, kaya nung lecture natin kanina, meron tayong PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group na doon tayo pwede magreklamo. Then, pag nasa workplace naman, at saka educational and training institutions, dapat may anti-sexual harassment officers, at saka dapat guided tayo ng code of conduct, na dapat mayroong code of conduct na kung saan madidefine kung ano yung mga gender-based sexual harassments, at saka paano yung filing of complaint, saan, paano, at saka hanggang sa ma-resolve yung kaso, paano siya tatakbo, ay nakasaad doon sa code of conduct. At magkakaroon din ng CODI, mag-constitute ng Committee on Decorum and Investigation, no, or CODI, na siyang kumbaga independent body na mag-investigate at from investigation to the resolution ng complaint. So yun po yung kanilang doon po sila pwedeng magreklamo sa mga sinabi ko na yon.
Okay, so I think napaka-importante ng tanong na ito, no? So thank you so much, Attorney Lads. No, so at least alam na ng mga viewers natin, no, saan ba sila tatakbo. And yung pangatlong tanong natin, actually very interesting ito, no. So ang pangatlong tanong natin, kung pwede daw po bang magreklamo ang mga biktima, no, sa Bangsamoro Human Rights Commission.
Okay, napakagandang tanong. Okay. Opo, pwede po silang magreklamo sa Bangsamoro Human Rights Commission kung tingin nila ay yung human rights po nila ay na-violate or na-abuse. Pwede po silang magreklamo, particularly po yung mga kababaihan natin at saka mga bata, in line with the kumbaga with the function of BHRC as Gender and Development Ombud and Children Ombud.
Yes.
No? So, pwede pong aksyonan yan ni BHRC.
Ayan, no. So, i-reiterate ko lang, no. Pwede po kayong magsumbo sa Bangsamoro Human Rights Commission, no. So, gaya nga ng sabi ni Attorney Lads. At ang panghuling tanong, no. So, I think importante din to, Sir Lads. No, so kapag naimbestigahan na daw po ng pulisya, pwede pa rin ba imbestigahan ni Bangsamoro Human Rights Commission?
Okay po. Opo, pwede po siyang imbestigahan ni Bangsamoro Human Rights Commission kahit yung reklamo ay iniimbestigahan na ng mga pulisya. No? Kasi magkaiba po yung investigation na ikakandak ni Bangsamoro Human Rights Commission at saka ng pulisya. Kasi ang sa pulisya po ay yung sa criminal aspect po ng reklamo. Samantalang si Bangsamoro Human Rights Commission ay yung sa human rights violation or abuse na aspect, no? And according sa ating Bangsamoro Autonomy Act number 4 or Bangsamoro Human Rights Act of 2019, yung investigation by other tribunal or agency does not bar the Bangsamoro Human Rights Commission from conducting its own investigation.
Okay, so napaka-importanteng malaman yan ng mga viewers natin, Attorney Lads, no? So, thank you very much po, Attorney Lads. And, okay, so wala na pong nagpadala ng mga tanong. Baka may huling mensahe ka sa mga viewers natin?
Okay, maraming salamat po, na Sir Paad. Okay, sa ngalan po ng Bangsamoro Human Rights Commission, sa pamumuno po ng ating chairperson na si Attorney Abdul Rashid Kalim at saka sa ating dalawang commissioners na si Archie Buaya at Attorney Khadija Dayang-Dayang Dambong. Ako po si Attorney Aladin Tamama na bumabati po sa inyo ng Happy Women's Month.